Riders, and welcome to another edition of The Flow. I am your community manager here at Ecamm, Doc Rock, along with my awesome co-host.
I'm Katie Wright. This is Doc Wrong.
What in the heck is that? That is, my mouth just decided it didn't want to be here today. All right, cool.
No.
Today is going to be a pretty cool show, and we're going to talk about audio things. And this is cool because this is questions that come up a lot for people recording their podcast. I just recently came back from Podcast Movement, so I got to see all the cool new audio gear that's happening. I brought this thing home with me. It's kind of massive. This is huge.
Wow, it is massive.
That is
for those listening. What is it, Doc?
I was going to say it's a Mackie DLZ Creator. So got to make sure I say that right. It's a DLZ Creator, Delta Lima Zebra Creator, and it is like, I hate doing this. Oh my goodness. I really hate when people say, but is it better than the Rodecaster Pro? It's different. It deserves its own space, right? It's like when people try to say that one person is better than the other person. No, they're just different. It just,
in the audio family, it's a cousin.
yeah. It's a bigger, more stronger, more powerful cousin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where if the Rodecaster Pro was Sugar Ray Leonard, who is amazing welterweight, then this would be Mike Tyson, who is an amazing heavyweight. It's just slightly beefier. They do similar things. It's just on a higher scale. That's basically the best way to explain it. But for me, the key is that gigantic screen. When you're old and can't see, that screen is huge. It's 10.9, I think. My brother measured it. I think it's 10.9 or 10.1. That screen is massive. You can see from last Thursday any of your settings.
So yeah, the worse your eyesight gets, the bigger your tech should get.
Exactly. It kicks in. So, oh my God, that is such a true statement.
Well, I'm doing well because I just downsized to the Rodecaster Pro Duo. So I upgraded but downsized. So
I think those screens are the same. As a matter of fact, I think the dual screen might be bigger than the Pro. I have to double check that.
That's a fair point. The screens are the same. The desk size, the size of it on my desk is different. So
I definitely have to say, of them so far, and again, I haven't fully played with the Mackie yet because I've been busy doing other stuff. My favorite so far has been the Duo. As much as I love the Rodecaster Pro 2, and I think it's fantastic, the thing that's so amazing to me about the Duo is how it's all compact. It all fits in there. And if you only need 2 microphones and a computer, some sound pads, it's a much better option because it takes up way less real estate on the desk. And we were joking the other day. I literally rebuilt this desk. So for my desk, I'll give you guys my secret and you can look into it. I actually was telling Jeremy how to do it. I bought a Husky stand-up workshop desk. And so it's a really nice desk. It costs about $280, comes with a little crank so you can crank it up and down. And what I did with it was I cranked it to the height that I knew was proper. I yanked the crank out because it's removable. And then I took the top off and I replaced it with like an $8,000 tree slab, which I made myself. And so it's pretty. Right. It's not like a little Home Depot desk because those are only 24 inches deep, way too shallow for a workstation style desk. My current desk is like 34 inches deep and 6 feet or 72 inches wide. I made this beautiful looking monkey pod desk. Looks like Koa. Is very pretty wood grain, like epoxied all the holes, and I cover it with stuff. So putting the Duo was so cool because I can see my desk again. Oh, it's really pretty, man. The wood craftsman must have been very dope. So it's just kind of funny to me. So now I can see my desk a little bit. There you go.
Well, I see all these questions coming in about gear, but I want to hold on the gear because what I really want to get out, at least ahead of everything else in this episode, is thinking through some of the audio enhancements that you can make digitally. So I wanted to at least talk a little bit about Krisp, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what Adobe has as an offering for podcasters called Adobe Enhance. because I think that there's a lot of people out there that have now, because they're watching this show or they're hanging out in Ecamm, they have fairly good microphones. They probably have some kind of mixer. They know generally what they're working their way up to, but what kind of enhancements can you make either during the recording or post-production enhancements to just make your podcast sound as good as possible and really take advantage of all of the incredible gear that we all have? So I know maybe you want to start with Adobe. Do you want to talk through Adobe first?
Yeah, it was actually part of my presentation. So I have a video on my channel where I showed this off. I don't know, maybe Paul will find a link, but it's really nothing to it. You go to podcast.adobe.com, and then there's a couple of tools. One is to help you set your mic gain. The other one is to send your audio to it and have it use some AI to try to fix your sound. Here's where I differ from most people. Okay, listen, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this as bluntly as possible. Your feelings, I don't care. If you don't want to learn how to EQ, compress, and normalize your audio, perfect. You just literally throw it at podcast.adobe.com and you take it out. It will be better than your raw, naked audio. However, where it falls apart is the minute it has to do any noise cancellation, it really sounds a bit digital. Yeah, digital. It sounds a little bit digital. So if you have clean audio, like my space right here is relatively clean. My mic rejects noise. My fans are on, my lights, but they're far enough away that even I can barely hear. When I'm sitting in here, I don't even pay attention to it. You don't even pay attention to the fan that's in the office, but it's on. That big light in front of your face, it just goes numb after a while. Our mics don't pick it up because we have quality mics that won't pick it up. To me, it doesn't work as good as Auphonic, but it does work. Okay, so use it because it's free. If you broke ass and that's all you
free,
got,
it's so easy.
Use it because it's free and you don't have to know anything. You drag the file, it thinks, you pull the file out, done. Like, it's simple as pie. Like, to me, I'm happy that it exists because now that you know this is dope, it allows you to step up and get the grown folks version, which is Auphonic, which is free if you're under 2 hours a month. But you can buy either monthly, and I don't like monthly, then you can buy a block, which is what I do. I'll give it like $100, which gives me a ton of hours, and then I just peel the hours down until they disappear, and then when they're done, I buy more $100. The reason why I like that version, if you're a podcaster who is seasonal, you're not paying monthly pricing for the time you're not using it. You know what I'm saying? So I can spend $100 on here is roughly 50 hours, and that 50 hours will last me forever. Let me switch it to USD instead of, okay, it's $88 for 50 hours. So yeah, I normally buy 50-hour blocks and just go through it. And you figure this podcast, 52 weeks, is basically $88 for the year.
So it's here. Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, the 2 free hours they give you, they still stack that for the next month, right?
Nice.
So it's pre-occurring. Actually, now the free credits don't stack up. It used to be that they did, but now they don't. I'm looking at the new update here. And so what happened is you'll get your 50 plus that extra 2, which is more than enough to cover what we do.
Yeah. And I think this is really important for everyone that is watching and listening to just really, for us to really drive home, is that you don't need to be an expert to be able to use some of these tools. These are great starting points. Hopefully they help you have a better ear for how great your podcast could sound, and you'll dive a little bit deeper and learn how to do some of this yourself. But, for everyone that's like, podcast editing is really intimidating or is, feels like a lot of work. This is at a bare minimum, super fast and easy, and could be free or fairly affordable to just be able to drag and drop that file in and clean up your audio a little bit. Obviously, you can also pair it with a tool like Descript, which we use all the time. If you want to do things like get rid of all of these ums and ahs and likes and filler words, you could do some basic editing like that as well, and then drag and drop that file into one of these tools to be able to clean up the audio. But yeah, this is a great starting point, and you'll be amazed at the difference. And then hopefully you'll be excited by how amazing it sounds, and you'll want to dive even deeper into some of the more advanced tools and better gear and hardware as well, because that really is what makes the biggest difference, is understanding all of the hardware up front and how it works and investing in that correctly. But these are definitely going to make a big difference in the kind of basic post-production or even during production flow.
Yeah. See, all right, we're going to get touchy. I'm sorry.
Cover your ears if you have feelings.
Man, here's the problem. Sound is physics. Okay?
Yep.
It is legit physics. It has jack all to do with your feelings. So I know people like to inject feelings in places where they don't fit, and don't do that. It's just not helpful to you, because when the physics can't do what your feelings want, you become dejected or feel sad or whatever. But if you understand physics, you understand physics. How far do sound waves travel underwater? Not very. So you cannot buck that. It's just not going to work, right?
You're not going to be able to fix a bad file.
There's no way.
So if you record it incorrectly, or it gets messed up in recording,
exactly.
There's no free tool that is going to solve that for you.
100%. This is what I'm trying to get people to wrap their head around. Now, you said what is the right thing to say, which is current, which is what everybody says. And it's like, if you want to do podcasting, but you don't really want to learn all the editing and all of the tools or whatever, just use these things. And I got to say no, right? Diapers are an amazing invention, but having diapers does not allay you from all the other parenting duties that you have to be a parent. If you want to have kids, you're going to have to learn some ish. Podcast is your next child. You're going to have to learn some things, and you can't keep running from it, because if you do, your kids are going to grow up like me.
Facts.
I'm just saying.
I think it's good. I'll correct myself and say that I think it's a really good starting point. So, if you're sitting there and you're not doing anything, and you're just releasing the podcast and you're feeling a little bit anxious about that, or you're feeling a little bit like, oh, I should be doing some stuff. You should be. This is a great starting point. And I think just starting with either of these tools, I think we still use Auphonic on a regular basis for this one, but starting with a tool like what Adobe is offering gets you, I think it just gets you more familiar with 100%. It. And really, we've been saying throughout this podcast that the more you do it, the easier it gets and the more comfortable you get. So
bingo.
It's a good practice. Right?
The reason why I'm so happy that Adobe exists is because I've been telling people about Auphonic for over 10 years, and they don't really get it. But the minute Adobe steps into the game, oh, this is cool. Oh, now I'll look at Auphonic. People who I know I've told exactly about Auphonic years ago are, hey, have you checked out Adobe Podcast? Auphonic will kick it in the nuts in the backyard. And then they try Auphonic and they go, oh my God, you're correct. And I was like, I've been telling you this mess for 10 years. So Burger King has to exist for McDonald's to be as big as it is today, right?
True.
Because otherwise people don't understand. Before, the idea of taking your kid to some place and not feeding them yourself didn't make any sense. Now everybody does it. Well, that's a whole different conversation. But, it's a thing. So Adobe is dope. Start there. I'd highly suggest you check out Auphonic. I think it's way better. And something really, really cool. Right now, this week, I was actually going to make a newsletter post about it. But Isotope, where our buddy Jay from Descript used to work, IZOTOPE, is giving away Nectar as part of their 20th anniversary type situation. So they're giving away free copies of Nectar, which would normally cost you like $100 or whatever. And it's just a little trial version, but it does do some cool things. Nectar Elements is on sale for $39 right now, and this allows you to do some of what we're talking about, but built directly on your computer, and you won't have to use any cloud-based versions or whatever. What Nectar kind of does is it uses an AI assistant to improve your vocals, and it will sort of smooth out S's and sort of auto EQ, and it's a really cool way to sort of shape up your vocals, and it's a nice tool. Let me see if I can find the email so I can give you guys the link. I totally had this. I might have deleted it because I'm trying to clean my email box because it gets just psycho. But you can go to Isotope and look at it and get the free vocally plugin, Nectar Elements for free. Here we go. I got it. Let me give you guys a link in the old chat. And it's a long one because it came from an email, but you can get it for free. And if the free thing disappeared, then my God, it's only like $30. So yeah, it's still worth it.
We should talk a little bit about, before we jump into Krisp, which is a slightly different tool, what we should talk about is to just remind everyone that there are still best practices going in, right? So we just said this. So you should always be doing a tech check, a sound check before you live stream, before you record a video, before you're creating anything in the video or audio space. And that doesn't need to take an insane amount of time. And hopefully, you're doing this often enough that you've got your settings down the way you want. So it's a pretty quick test, but don't just hit record or just stream without doing at least a quick check. Just make sure everything is sounding the way that you want it to. And if you are an Ecamm user, which I assume you are because you're watching this or listening to this, you are definitely going to want to take advantage of our isolated audio and isolated video feature so that you can get those separate files. Because if you're going to take our advice and start doing some of this post-production work, especially with your audio, having the individual files is going to be really important in case something goes wrong with just Doc's audio or just my audio or, a guest's audio. Having that file separated out, it's just going to give you more flexibility and being able to make some changes. And as Doc said, if the file is bad, if it wasn't recorded correctly or everything went wrong initially, there's no amount of post-production editing that's going to save it. You are enhancing what hopefully is already decent audio.
Correct. And there's some other things you can do. Many of us have things like the Rode Wireless Go 2 or the DJI. There's nothing wrong with putting that sucker right here and turning it on and recording, having a backup audio file. Yeah. Right? A lot of people in the chat right now have one of these or have the DJI equivalent or the Hollyland equivalent, all of the above, even Deity. If you have something like this, pop it on and turn on the backup recorder. Another thing, which is actually super inexpensive, but I haven't talked about a lot because everybody complains when I tell them to spend $100. But you know what they won't? They also will complain when they lose their stuff and it didn't come out.
When their audio's bad.
Now I don't have my audio, right? So there is a Tascam little digital creator. It's called the DR10, and now there's a DR10 Pro. You can buy the original version for probably like $150 right now because the new version just came out. It legit costs $219. They call it $220. I'm gonna pop it in the chatty chat right here. And this is a little field recorder, which you can also use if you don't happen to have, say, the Rode or the DJI. You can use this as a backup audio recorder. If you're an old school film person, you probably have a Zoom H4n. I have my 15-year-old Zoom H4n in the drawer right now, and it still works to this very day. But any of those make awesome backup recorders so that you can have an additional copy should something go wrong, right? Even, this is going to sound psycho, even just putting your phone on the table and pressing voice memo and not hitting the table too often. If you hit the table a lot, put it on a towel. Have it there as a backup recording is better than having nothing. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm looking at the older version right now is $130 on Amazon. The newer version, not on Amazon yet, but it's in B&H. So I'm going to put both of them there. But yeah,
and
these are cool.
Big end of year sales are coming. So if for whatever reason you can't,
Black Friday,
you can't be able to, hang in there till Black Friday or add it to your holiday list. But yeah, I think it's a really good idea to have a backup.
Y'all are so nice. Y'all are just super nice. I'm gonna just tell y'all, because to me, I'm gonna say for something that's $200, if you're a grown person with all your abilities and you can't babysit or cut grass or wash cars to get $200 in the weekend, we can't be friends. I'm sorry, it's too easy to sit around and suffer for this. Well, I can't afford $219 right now. I guarantee you, your brother-in-law needs to paint something. Right? I could go to Katie's house right now and be like, hey, man, you want me to help you chop up all this wood? And hubby would be like, damn, Skippy. All right, cool. $75? All right, yes. All right, cool. Boom, chop all the wood. And then my Auphonic is covered for the year. I mean, I'm sorry. The excuses of I can't afford that right now, BS. You just don't want to. I'm sorry. I'm going to be mean about it because all of my contemporaries will be nice about it. So I'll be mean about it. And be like, there's no way, unless you have both knees broken, you cannot find a way to generate $200 in a couple of weeks. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. How important is it to you?
You can Uber drive for a month to get the gear you want and then quit.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's too easy. I don't want to hear it. I'm sorry. Anyway, we got one more piece to talk about before we slide, and that would be Krisp. And Luis is going to be mad at me. Paul and Luis absolutely love this, so take their word for it. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I know it works. I think it sounds good, but I think
it's handy depending on what your space is and what your goals are. I have heard it solve a lot of problems for people who are in spaces that have issues. Like Paul, for example, is in Northern California. Northern California? In California. Anyway, it's hot. It's hot there, right? So he's got an air conditioner that runs a lot behind him in his space. There's not a lot he can do about that. He can turn it off and then he would be drenched in sweat while trying to live stream. So having something that cuts out that sound in the background, even with really good microphones, having something that takes that out is great. Having, in Luis's case, something that takes out, the sounds of his son playing in the background. Things like that I think are helpful.
Yeah.
Luis is about to pop in.
No, it totally works, right? So here's how I get rid of air conditioning sounds. Take a towel or a cardboard. What do we call that thing? What do you call the thing? Made by Elmer, sold at Walmart. Foam core. Take a towel or a foam core, put it in the air path, and just redirect the air for an hour. It will stop the sound because it's not going to reach your mic. The reason why your mic can hear it is not the actual noise, it's the wind too. Because sound is a wave. It moves through the air. Light is a wave. It moves through the air. Something that most people don't know, what's the difference between a light wave and a sound wave?
I don't know.
Frequency. It's the same freaking wave. There's only a wave. Sound wave, light wave, radio wave, microwave, catch a wave, tsunami wave, all the same wave, right? It's the frequency. So at 20,000 hertz, a sound becomes audible. But when it's lower, it's glowing. If it's faster, it starts to glow as the light wave. So they're all the same. So your phone, your microphone, and your actual phone, and the thing you just made a Jorge Posada burrito in, same wave, just different frequencies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And most people don't understand that because in physics class, they were high or they skipped class or they were busy talking to Jenny from the block. I have no idea why you guys missed physics class. I went to physics class. So it's all the same wave. It's just a matter of frequency. So if you can disrupt the frequency, it will fan that thing out. Even putting a diffuser in front of your air conditioner will dim some of that sound. A lot of it is the that you hear. So if you can break that up, you still can get cool and you can get rid of it, right? So it's one of these things where Krisp does have a place. I'm not going to say it's completely horrible, but it doesn't. But I can hear the digital when I hear Krisp. Okay? Yeah. Now here's where I get my panties in the bunch. Krisp costs $96 a year. A DBX 286 costs $220. If you pay for Krisp for more than 2 years, you could buy a DBX 286S and be done with it.
I have to interject.
I know, because you have both, because you need both, because Aiden is banging. That's a different story.
Well,
but
not
your
even
situation
just my AC
is a rarity.
My AC. So like right now, I'm going to turn off my Krisp. Okay. And by turning it off, you notice a huge difference.
100%.
Right? And that's it. So even right now that Aiden's like a bit quiet, that noise of the AC gets taken out. And I understand that there is that digital aspect to it, but you get the same thing from a noise gate, from a lot of different things that you
100%.
use. So this is my, like ease of mind choice. And it worked compared to the DBX 286 because I don't even have that connected. I tried doing the physical unit, and for me, Krisp is what worked. So,
yeah. So, for those who are listening or watching, we're talking right now about Krisp, Krisp.ai is what you can, and it is a tool that you can turn on, a digital tool while you're recording, right, Doc? So that it helps to kind of take out any kind of background sounds. Is basically just cutting out any kind of background sounds that keep your audio from sounding amazing. So give it a test, to give it a try. Anyone that is interested in learning more about it, you could be on Team Doc and not interested in it, or Team Luis and Paul and swear by it, or somewhere in between. But if it's within budget and you're able to prioritize it and it makes sense for you, I think it's at least a good option if that is a challenge for you and you want to be able to learn more. I have heard, similar to what Luis just showed as an example, Paul has done a couple of examples where he's literally like crumpled paper right in front of the microphone and it takes it out, and and you hear him talking just fine. So it can make a difference depending on what your needs are.
So to me, it's most people that use Krisp. Okay, Luis and Paul has spent hours, HOURS, setting it up to try to get it perfect. Mm-hmm. It has failed on them a lot, but they have the patience to go back in and put it back.
Yep.
If I count the amount of hours that they've both spent dialing in Krisp, and I count it's been over 3 years for both of them, so I count the other $300, you could buy a legit hardware device that actually solves this problem. Krisp is emulating hardware. Is what it's doing. Yeah, it's emulating hardware. A actual hardware device will solve the above problems. I'm just saying, like, Krisp is dope, but the other thing, and Jeremy legit just put this in the chat, is your system has to be dope enough to handle Krisp plus your recording / streaming. And not most people's machines aren't going to get there. It is better in the M category. But yeah, I'm just completely not a fan of it because it has a digital sound. Some people can't hear it. Some people legit can't hear it. If you listen to an MP3 at 96, 128, 256, and 3, I forgot the number now. You can't tell the difference? Fine, knock yourself out. But I can hear it. I can't stand it. It sounds horrible. But you do what you do. You do what you do.
Well, thank you for letting us talk about it regardless.
No, because I know people are going to try it. I think the thing is, though, and Krisp fits on the list of, it sounds easy on paper, but you will spend some time getting it dialed in. And I think everybody thinks that there's a Aloha Mora wave the magic wand that you bought from Diagon Alley and it's gone, and it doesn't do that. Yeah. Like, you really will have to spend some time to figure it out. Now, the altogether dopest one to me, and I actually put it in the chat, and Elaine talked about it, and that's the Isotope RX10. I did put in the Isotope RX10 elements in the chat. I think it's amazing. RX Elements is like $129. The real RX10 is way more, but totally worth it. That thing is magic, and it will remove a lot. It will remove an absolute lot. It can repair all myriad sorts of audio. For most people in our community, I believe they need the 199 version. Well, I mean, the 129 version right now is on sale, and that's the RX Elements. The RX Standard is $400, and that thing is gold. That's what I used to use primarily the most back when it was $7. And it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it's hard to explain how good it is, but it is worth every penny. And most people here, for what you're going to do with it, can get away with Elements, and you'll be fine. And that's like $129 one-time fee, and that will remove most of what you have. The other one that I wanted to bring up that somebody put in the chat, and I got to roll back to it. Oh, I know what it was. A-Live Studio wanted to know is, how would I compare Descript Studio mode to the tools that we just mentioned? Here's the funny thing. Jay, who's the main man at Descript, comes from Isotope. So it's a version of Isotope Elements, RX Elements, and Nectar built in. It's pretty good. I take everything that we process through Descript, I still run it through Auphonic. Auphonic is my grandmother coming to check if my room is clean. I will say it's clean. I'll check with my sisters. They'll say it's clean. I'll let grandma check it. When grandma check it, you Bap. Oh, sorry. You know what I mean? Like, That's Auphonic to me is the last check on things that even sound perfect to my ears. I trust Auphonic. I let it do the last pass on everything.
Yeah.
My reels get last passed on Auphonic. When you see my reels, I guarantee you my reels are louder and sound better than most people reel because I pass them through Auphonic.
Yeah. And I will say, and we've been talking about this since the beginning of this show, but the Descript has a ton of other features beyond audio. So, again, if you have it, use it, use it for all of the incredible things that it does. But yeah, it shouldn't be, I don't think, a replacement for what we're talking about today, because that is not its main purpose. It was, originally designed and developed to be a easy video editing and transcription tool. And so its main focus is not audio. So it does audio, but it's not going to do audio as well as a tool that's main focus is devoted to helping you get better audio. I think we did it. I know you have to wrap early and I got to jump out of here soon too. So
yeah, I'll just
anything else?
Check in to see if anybody has anything else. The key, a couple of things that you can manage. And I talk about this all the time. Actually, I said it earlier about putting the towel on the desk. I think Dave put it in there too. Just breaking up the sound waves does it. The reason why those foam things you see with the little stupid eggshells everybody buys, some of them are fake. Some of them are not thick enough to actually work too well, but they still are better than nothing because they help break up the wave so that it doesn't reflect and bounce all around your room. Sometimes you'll hear a low, deep hum in your audio. You can't seem to know where it's coming from. It is literally just resonance trapped in your room, right? Because as you talk, you generate, like I'm bouncing directly off the wall in front of me. This helps break some of that up. It's the reason why we use a mic cover, or when you see like a fat mic cover, like the pod mic or a dead cat, when you're out filming, AKA the fuzzy thing that covers a mic, right? That all helps break up some of the wind. It helps breaks up some of the unnecessary sound reflections. You'll notice that even something as small as one of these little roads will come with a little dead cat. And most people just go just because of the wind, but it also will help break up some of that deep building up resonance. So yes, and I talk about this all the time. Put towel on your table, out of your shot. It will take some of the harshness away from the reflection of the desk. Just talking down to the desk will give you a different sound. And I don't know how well this is going to work because my room is big, but if I'm here, actually, I'll make it bigger. Let me unfold this. All right, so this is our normal talking, and this is talking into something with a reflective surface. And once again, this will be normal talking, and this again will be talking to something for a reflective surface. I can actually hear that difference. I can hear, you know what I mean? So when you have your mic set in the position where you are talking and you're bouncing off of a desk or you're talking into a corner, a lot of us love to build our desk into corners because of a small amount of space. You're legit talking at the wall, it's bouncing back. You're creating some of that unnecessary noise. So if you like Paul, you can get your cat to sit right in front of your microphone. That will break up the noise. If you put a thick towel, blanket, duvet, quilt, something soft, your Ecamm pillow, if I sit it right on the desk underneath the microphone, you will eliminate a lot of the noise because the sound will not be able to deal with the softness of that surface. And it's the reason why when you go into sound rooms, everything is carpeted. The mixing desk is often carpeted. Like they carpet everything. They carpet the ceiling if they could. But that's the reason why. It's also the reason why in your office we have acoustic tiles. That's what they're for. And here's the thing. Last thing I want you to hear this. Now that you know, now that you're paying attention and you know, when you go into one of these really cool breakfast places or pizza places that's in an industrial area and you look up and there's just a raw naked metal ceiling, listen to how horrible that environment sounds. As opposed to something as busy as an airport where the ceiling is way up there. And there's often this is a cute design. They made a little thing that looks like a sheet and it's in the ceiling. Oh, what a lovely design. No, it's to mitigate the sound because you can't sit there and shop in the duty free for the 2 hours they make you come early, conspiracy theory, so that you can buy more stuff from the duty free while you're bored.
Yep.
Because it's too noisy. So when you go into stores that are designed to make you spend money, see the sound treatment. You'll see it. But people that open up the restaurant and they don't really know any better and it just sounds horrible in this restaurant. Like you can barely hear the person talking. that's because they haven't put any sound treatment in their space, and it normally hurts your ears. And you're just like, I love this food, but I'm gonna eat and then I'm out of here. Yeah, I can't hang out. So you'll hear it. You'll hear it in brand new bars where they don't have no money. You can tell they just put it together. You can totally
open concept spaces.
100%. They're so noisy with dumb noises. Like every fork, every scratch of the plate, you can hear conversations from 3 people down. You'll notice it, and then you'll know why you should treat your room a little better. Even simple stuff like throw a carpet under your chair if you can. Go to Ross, get a little roly carpet, be done. All right, we covered some basics. Please, I know you guys got deep questions. This is a lot. Please, by all efforts, like reach out, talk about it in the Discord. We do have some people in here that come from musical background like Elaine and Dave. They'll be able to help a lot. These are just things that they know. You'll see why the drummer puts a blanket inside his bass drum. It's to break up some of that resonance created from going in the death metal. You know what I mean? Like, so you just, by all means, our community is full of brilliant people that know this stuff, and you're good to go.
Yeah. And if you are still watching this or listening to it and it's the first week of September 2023, then we are currently running a completely free workshop. It's being hosted by Alec Johnson, who's an incredible mind in all of this space. And he is covering all of the tools and tech that work alongside Ecamm to help power videos, podcasts, live streams, everything in between. And he is covering, I think 2 of the days are completely focused on audio. So if you want to dive a little bit deeper, it's a great way to kind of get some pro tips and jump in. There's a lot of amazing content going on there. And that is, again, completely free. It's happening here on the Ecamm YouTube channel. You can also go to ecamm.tv/tech, TECH tech, and you can sign up for free. Again, signing up just gets you reminders on when things are and replay links and then some free bonus content on that. But I think that'll be a great way to kind of dive a little bit deeper into this space. We're going to keep doing more and more episodes that are focused on audio, and maybe we can have Doc do a deep dive into his new Mackie as soon as he's back from his trip and wants to dive into
I'm going to bring the Mackie experts over to talk about it.
Ooh,
but I can't find a post right now, but I did have one piece of exciting news. I've been keeping it quiet because this is my job to keep it quiet. But the person who tells us not to leak stuff leaks it himself. Glenn, looking directly at you. Glenn posted in the community yesterday, don't worry, people, plugins for Ecamm is coming.
Are coming. Yep. Huge thanks to our incredible intern, Will.
Right.
Who's been working hard
so
on
what that means is Paul and Louise can get rid of Krisp and use an actual isotope plugin like a grown-up. No, I'm just teasing. Actually, I think there might even be a Krisp plugin, in which case it will mitigate some of what Jeremy was talking about, having all of that unnecessary load, because plugins, especially core audio plugins, are designed to use less power. I saw that, Louise. They decided to use less power, and it will just make your life better. So that means you will be able to put in, as Dave and I were talking about, a high-pass filter to take out some of that rumble, or a low-pass filter to take out some of that air in Katie space, because Katie space is kind of airy. That's coming to Ecamm soon. So pay attention to the beta group. If you're not in the beta group, I don't know what's wrong with you. I live in beta, so come through. It's coming, people. I'm excited. Thank you, Will. I'm super excited. All right, there you go.
Awesome. We did it. We did all the audio.
Man, we could do like 17 episodes on audio.
We probably will.
We will have to. Anyway, gang, this and every edition of The Flow can be found at flow.ecamm.com. I highly suggest you go over there, check it out. Pick your favorite podcast getter, because this is available wherever podcasts get, and it's got our favorites tend to be Apple Podcasts and YouTube. You know what it is. And also want to remind everybody that we host this on Captivate, and Captivate brought us some cool stuff. And I just want to give a shout out to them because I got to hang out with them in Podcast Movement.
This show is sponsored by our friends at Captivate.fm. Captivate is our podcast host and one of the absolute best podcast hosts out there because it does just about everything. You can plan your episodes, you can share ideas and brainstorm, you can monetize, you can promote your podcast. It sends the audio out to literally every single podcast player out there. And it just does it in such a beautiful and wonderful and easy to use way. So if you are looking to get up and running with podcasting, or maybe you've been at it for a bit but aren't happy with your podcast host, Captivate is absolutely the choice for you. We couldn't recommend them enough. They just make it so easy and they do everything. So why choose anyone else? Captivate, you can learn more about them at captivate.fm. Give them a try today. And hey, let us know what you think.
Now, this and every show brought to you by Descript. Descript is one of our favorite tools for doing this podcast because it allows for easy editing. It does have some of those fancy sound things that you guys are talking about built in. It can help you with your EQ a little bit of compressor here and there, and those tools are amazing. But big up to Descript for helping us bring you this edition of The Flow. There you go. All right, gang. So next week it's going to be Katie, and the week after that it's going to be Katie because ore wa moto nihongo ni ato de wa nihon de podcast mo dekinai kara mo haya ni okite kara soshite ato de wa mata ato de. Then so Katie got you for the next 2 weeks. I'll be in Japan and love you guys. It's amazing. This is dedicated to Aiden because Luis says every time we do this, Aiden just perks up because he hears Tio on the microphone. Here we go. Flow Riders out.